I got rich as soon as I realized today was the day that I was going to stop giving a fuck forever. I'm 21 years old now, and looking back the days where I was 16, 17, trying to figure out all of this online business stuff and how to become a successful entrepreneur at a young age, I was so trapped in the worry of what other people would think of me. I was so focused on the fact that I felt like I had to go out of my way to make other people feel happy, to care about other people's opinions, to act like someone that I necessarily wasn't, just because I was so scared of the way that people interpreted me as a person. Now, not only when it comes to the way that people interpreted me, but when I came to the realization that I had to also stop giving a fuck about what challenges life was throwing at me, I was able to actually visualize what I needed to do in order to get closer to the goals that I was trying to achieve. Now, there's a lot of ways you could interpret this message however it best suits you, but I think everyone needs to hear it when I say today is the day that you need to make the decision to stop giving a fuck forever. If I had to choose one thing that I would say was the biggest, determining factor in me getting to where I am today, I would simply say it would be the art of not giving a fuck. The way that I thought then versus now is so completely different. Obviously, I'm in a position now where I'm running a high leverage business that's generating tons of revenue every single month. And with that comes a lot more problems, which gives me even more of a reason to give a fuck. But I genuinely think that the reason I'm in the position I'm in today is because I don't. Whether it's when it comes to what other people think about me, whether it's when business or life throws challenges at me, or when it's literally anything that does not affect my life in a positive way. Now, I think something so simple is something that's hard to elaborate on, and there's really no trick around the fact that you simply just have to make the decision that you're gonna stop giving a fuck. We all know that business and life thrives off of your decision making. And if you're letting these decisions that relate onto your quality of life as well as your quality of business be altered by people's opinions who don't matter to you, how are you ever going to make decisions that solely benefit you? Now, I don't mean that in a selfish way, but the reality of it is, in life and in business, if you want to get to where you aspire to be, it takes a little bit of selfishness. Now, obviously take that with a grain of salt, because depending on the scenario, it doesn't apply to all. And I truly believe that I'm a non-selfish person. But in the end of the day, I had to make decisions that weren't best for other people, but benefited myself. One of those being not giving a fuck about someone else's opinion. Even now, I truly think that the reason I'm in a position that I am today is because I only trust my own opinions. Now, I shouldn't say necessarily just my own, because I like to collect different opinions from different people who are in positions where I aspire to be. But that's oftentimes because those opinions of people who are doing better than me are truthful opinions. The non-truthful opinions, which are oftentimes the hating ones, are coming from people who aren't doing better than you. So why would you ever even consider caring about their opinion? Now, I think for majority of you guys, and speaking on this from experience because this was me too, showed the attention to these people because naturally we're people pleasers. That's simply human nature. Again, I felt like I would have to be someone I wasn't or show emotions that wasn't truly me just because I wanted to be accepted by people who weren't even worth being accepted by. And as soon as I realized that and was able to step away from that decision, which led to me making a decision to simply stop giving a fuck, was the moment that I realized that this battle is truly only me versus me, and I have nothing to prove to anyone else other than myself, which led everything back to my workflow, my mental state, and gave me the motivation to do the things that were necessary to get to where I am today. And if it weren't for my younger self making that decision to stop giving a fuck about other people's opinions and the challenges that life was throwing at me, I wouldn't be where I am today. So again, as simple as it is for me to sit here in front of a camera and speak to the tens of thousands of people who are probably watching this video and tell them to stop giving a fuck, it actually is that simple. There's no sort of playbook that I can give you that's going to help you make that decision to do so. It simply comes down to you having the discipline to make that decision for yourself. In life, sometimes there's certain roadmaps that people can give you, and oftentimes there's not. They can simply tell you what you need to do and you take their advice, or they can tell you what you need to do and you make the excuse of, oh, I don't know how to do do it, which leads to you staying in the same position you're currently in. So again, let me reiterate the fact that I can tell you what you need to do, but you have to make the decision to do it for yourself. There's no secret playbook and there's no secret roadmap on how to stop giving a fuck. It simply comes down to you having the discipline and the determination to do so. When I was in high school, I made the decision to try starting a clothing brand. This was after I had already tried drop shipping, after I had already tried crypto, NFTs, basically every business model you could ever think of. Anyways, this is like my junior year of high school. I made a promise to myself that when starting this clothing brand, I was going to start posting content online to try to gain traction and build traffic towards that clothing brand. And while I was doing that, I knew that every single person going to my school would be watching these corny videos that I was posting online that were getting 200 views. I knew that I would put myself in a position where if I gave up on this clothing brand, I would look like a fucking clown. So what I did was I put myself in a position where if I failed, I would look stupid. So doing that, and through the process of doing that, I knew, if I give up, I fail, I look stupid. Because in the end of the day, the only way you can truly fail is if you give up. Every single failure is just an opportunity for you to continue to learn. But anyways, back to my point. With me putting myself in a position where I was putting my back against the wall, deciding to post content online for my whole high school to see, I knew that there was no other option but to make it work. And I also knew that there was no other option for me rather than to stop giving a fuck about other people's opinions. Because regardless, I was going to go to school, people were going to look at me different, people were probably going to talk shit behind my back, and they did. Nobody really ever said anything to my face because nobody had the balls to. But regardless, I still knew what was going on behind my back. So I had to make the decision to stop giving a fuck. And that is exactly what I did. And long story short, you guys have already heard this enough, but my clothing brand led to me learning how to run ads for my own clothing brand. I ended up scaling my clothing brand to multiple six figures and learned the skill of running paid ads, which then I went and signed a couple clients to run ads for, and that led my journey of freelance brand scaling and now running an agency that makes the money it makes. But again, I want to reiterate the fact that if I didn't make that decision, that when I was going to start that clothing brand, to start posting content and put myself in a position where my kind of reputation and my coolness was on the line, and if I simply with that didn't stop giving a fuck, I wouldn't be where I am today. You don't truly realize how some of these simple decisions lead you to achieving your goals until you actually go out and just do it. The path isn't clear for you yet. You don't know what decisions are going to lead to what success and what mistakes. So the best thing you can do in your situation is simply make decisions that you know are best for yourself, whether it ends up being a failure or whether it ends up being a success. Because look at the failure side, right? Because if you fail, you learn from something. And every single time you fail, you obtain a piece of knowledge that gets you one step closer to your goal. Eventually, you're going to stack up so many failures that you know everything you need to know in order to achieve that win you're looking for. So why not continue to make these decisions that you're fully aware that are the best decisions for you to make for yourself? And it simply all starts by not giving a fuck. But yeah, that's the video. I hope this helped. Subscribe, leave a like. Road to 100K on this channel. If you haven't already, check out my second channel. And if you want to learn more about my business model and what I do for a living, I'll leave a free training link down in the description below where you can get like my free course and shit, as well as check out the other videos on this channel. And let me know if you guys like this style of video, and if you want me to film another one, what car do you want me to film it in, or where do you want me to film it? Because I like doing like the cool little backgrounds in each video. Today we're in the Mansory G-Wagon. So let me know if you guys want another one in a car, and what car, the Aventador, the M3, the Porsche, maybe my backyard, maybe in my bed if y'all are feeling freaky. Anyways, like, subscribe, comment, and check out my free training. Let's get to this fucking money, boys. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.